Hey everyone, I'm Mark Girguis. I'm a board member of a nonprofit organization called Take Heart. We serve persecuted Christians in Egypt, Syria, Iraq, and now Nigeria. Those 4 countries are on the top 16 most persecuted countries on the planet. This organization is very dear to my heart. I know that you're getting this video in a time of quarantine, which is a difficult time for all of us. I know that some of you might be sick or have family members who are sick, hospitalized, or maybe have passed. I know that people are dealing with financial difficulties and stresses, whether you're losing hours at work or having lost jobs. And the social distancing thing is hard for a lot of us. I'm sorry for you, and I have been praying, and I think all of us have been praying for each other. But sometimes when I think about this time, I think about the most suffering people in the world. The persecuted Christians. Many of us are quarantined to a home. Many of them are quarantined to a tent because they've been displaced from their homes. Their homes have been bombed or burned. Many of us think it's so hard to deal with not being at church for a while, but their churches oftentimes have been burned. They don't have one to go back to when the quarantine is over. Many of us are worried about food from our refrigerator, our freezer, our pantry, and they don't have any place to store food. They live day to day. They're not getting their paychecks, and many of them could be facing starvation. It really breaks my heart when I think of them, and now here we are. Some of you have just gone through Holy Week and are celebrating Easter tomorrow, and for my Orthodox brothers and sisters, we're entering Holy Week. This is the time when we think about Christ's cross and His suffering. And the verse becomes so real to me during this week, 2 Corinthians 8:9, where it says, "And you know that because of His grace towards us, He who was rich became poor, so that we who are poor could become rich." Usually we go through all the steps with Christ throughout Holy Week, and as we watch Him doing more and more for us in His suffering and His love, sometimes we say, what could I do in return? Well, there are people who did things in return to Him that He actually highlighted, and they're heroes in this week. We highlight the lady who got a fragranced oil and anointed Him, and people were worried that it was about a year's worth salary, but she offered it to Him, and He praised her for it. We honor Simon the Cyrene, who during Christ's suffering was able to carry Christ's cross with Him. We honor the ladies who went to the tomb early, having purchased the incense and the myrrh and the oils to anoint Him. We honor the people that gave to Christ, and sometimes we're wondering, well, what could we do? Christ said one of His final teachings this week, in Matthew 25, one of His final teachings in the temple, He said, whenever you gave to the hungry, the thirsty, the naked, the ones who are in prison, and those who are sick, He said, whenever you did it to the least of those, my brethren, you did it unto me. For those of us who are wondering what we could do for Christ, one of His final teachings He gave to His disciples was this: I'm giving you a new commandment, to love others just as I loved you. People will know that you are my followers if you love one another just as I loved you. What was that love? We all know. It was a sacrificial love. It was a love that was giving. It was a love that didn't seek its own comfort, but it was a love that helped to relieve the burdens of others. So, what am I asking you? Please don't send toilet paper. That's not what I'm asking. But in this week, Holy Week, I pray that you would embrace not the rituals of the church, but the substance of what this Holy Week is all about. Christ's love for us and our love for Christ. And may we have the same heart and mind, that we would lift His burden and carry His cross by helping those who are carrying the cross the most. Pray, maybe stay up 1 hour as He asked for His disciples to ease His burden on that night. Maybe we can pray for an hour, or maybe we can just offer a fragrant oil, a sacrifice, just as Christ sacrificed for us. I pray that we will all get to experience the joy of the resurrection. May God bless you and all His people all over the planet. Take care.